being kind to ourselves, giving ourselves love, being quiet. So today is also a special day because you will be in silence, hopefully, during lunch, during afternoon rest and walk and personal time and afternoon tea. So it's good to gradually build up to that. So what we're going to be doing this morning and after the tea break, just bearing in mind that we are going on that journey into really try and go deeper into silence today. We had a lot of fun yesterday, a lot of fun last night, so hopefully you've got that out of your systems. You've expressed yourselves nicely. So today we will take that journey more deeply inside and up. So the topic I was given is connecting with the light. Connecting with the light. So I was going to start by just reading you a poem. A poem by a Sufi poet called Hafiz. You may have heard of him. And it's called With That Moon Language. Admit something. Everyone you see, you say to them, love me. Of course, you don't say this out aloud, otherwise someone might call the police. Still though, think about this great pull in us to connect, this great pull in us to connect. Why not be the one who lives with a full moon in each eye, that is always saying in that full moon language what every other eye in the world is dying to hear? So that sense that we talked about yesterday in the panel, didn't we? The idea of love. And where does that feeling, that tendency that we have to want to connect, where does that come from? And where does our need for love come from? That sense that we are loving beings. Where did we learn that? Where did that impulse come from within us? And so on this journey, and I think there's that sense, isn't it? And I think you talked about it, Venerable. How did we all get here? Spiritual connection, yeah. So what's brought us all here together? And maybe you have that sense of something in your life, like your destiny is pulling you. But what are you, and I think you mentioned it for Yuko, you were seeking. What were you seeking? Truth and love. So this feeling that we're looking for something. And you only look for something when you've lost it. Yeah? If you already have it. So what is it that we've lost? What is it that we feel is missing in our lives? What is it that's connecting us? And this is, it's a good question, because connection always implies something is connecting to something else. So what is connecting to what? That's the question we have. What is connecting to what? And so far we've been going into this journey of this inward journey. Where's the destination? This journey we're on, where are we going to? It's very useful to have some signposts or a map or an idea of who you're meeting, where you're going. But for me, this is a very important question about what's connecting with what. Because actually the word Raja Yoga, yoga itself means connection, union. So something is connecting, is uniting with something else. So the first step, and you will have no doubt gathered this from our conversations, is understanding who I am first. And you will have picked up from the meditations and the commentaries that there's this sense that we are spiritual beings, we are sentient beings, we are consciousness. We are not just this body. And this was a profound realization for myself. I felt, okay, I have a spirit. It was a bit airy-fairy. But this idea that I am the observing self, I am the detached observer, I am the experiencer. This was a very powerful piece of information for me. As a doctor, as a psychiatrist, I've done many brain scans on people. I've studied Alzheimer's disease and dementia, and when the brain goes wrong, I've done a lot of research in this area. And you can see in the brain that this part covers speech, this part covers memory, this part covers language, this part covers different sensory inputs, etc., etc. But you'll never find on the scan the place in the brain that is experiencing all this, because it's not in the brain. It uses the brain, it's positioned in a sense next to the brain, but it's not made up of the chemicals and particles and atoms and biology of our brain, because that is me, the living consciousness. And that living consciousness, when it leaves the body, what do you have? A dead body. And you've probably, I don't know, I imagine most of you have seen a dead body. So you know the difference between a body that has a living energy in it and a body that doesn't. So what is that energy that's animating this vehicle? It's really a very profound concept, because if that's what I am not of this material world, I'm not of this dimension. So what am I? And I think that journey in meditation is taking us into a place to find our true nature. I think in Buddhism you might call it Buddha nature. So what is that Buddha nature? What is that true nature? And I think there's an idea that through interacting with matter in this body, I have accumulated karmas. So I have put layers and layers of things on top of my true nature. So there's that sense that my true nature of love and peace and wisdom and happiness and joy, it's there, but it's a question of letting go, of getting rid of, or somehow transcending that which is not me. So that which is not me. And I think Yogesh and tomorrow we'll talk about tools. How do we manage those things that are not me and come back on that inner journey to my deeper self? And so this idea of this sentient being, this living energy, contains the mind, contains decision-making power, the intellect, and the sanskars, the memories. And that's why when we leave the body and we take another one, we are taking a lot of things with us. We're taking our karma, we're taking some of our habits, our personality traits. So these are all within this living energy. So when a baby is born and most parents will notice this, it doesn't come as a blank sheet. It already has its own personality, which develops as the brain develops. You can see it manifesting. But we are coming in already with things that we've brought from our previous incarnations, our own karmas. So how do we take this journey back to ourselves? And so with the Raj Yoga meditation, we can use this technique of actually harnessing the thought energy, taking that thought that I am peaceful energy, I am loving energy, and use that thought itself to take us back to that destination inside. So we can, rather than fighting with thought energy or trying to stop thoughts, we are actually harnessing the energy of thought to take us with right knowledge. Now, in my work in psychiatry, I belong to a group called the Spirituality Special Interest Group, and that's with the World Psychiatric Association and the Royal College of Psychiatrists. So often in that field we're being asked, why is spirituality important to people? We're trying to... There is a soul who lives there. In a sense, that's that soul's home. And we could all have different names for it. We could call it the Great Bliss. We could call it Supreme Soul, Divine Energy, Universal Love, the Ocean of Compassion. Different people have had different experiences, but when we go, in a way, to this home, we find who's living there. It's not empty. It's not an empty house. It's a house that has a very beautiful resident and that you're going to meet. So our experience in meditation is that we first go inwards, we connect with our real nature, our true nature. We go into that silence and we're withdrawing from the material world and we're going into this subtle dimension. And in this subtle dimension, we feel a presence. We feel a presence. Now this for me, when I first heard it, was just a theory, because I thought, well, that's a nice story. But this could just be someone's imagination. You know, someone's telling me. Like when you're growing up, and for me, going to church, the Bible, scriptures, different religions and practices that people have, they might be told there is a God. But it's all just kind of hearsay in a way, isn't it? Someone else is telling you this is existing. So when I first started learning this meditation, I was told just to experiment with it. Just take it on as a concept and just keep an open mind and see if you can experience for yourself this presence. So that's what I've been doing now, I would say, for the last 45 years, is really just experimenting, keeping an open mind. And what I've discovered has been amazing. In fact, quite early on my spiritual journey, because I was a bit doubtful, a bit skeptical, I was sitting in meditation or trying to meditate or thinking I wasn't doing this very well. And I had a unique experience, which I've only had once like this, where I felt this energy of light pulling me into that home and introducing itself to me. It was like in front of me, like a big red egg, and rays were coming out of it. And I remember saying to myself or to it, "You look like an octopus." in my mind, going, oh, you look like an octopus. But it was that feeling, it was living, it was alive, and it was sending me this beautiful, loving, gentle energy. Beautiful, loving, gentle energy. And I thought, oh, you do exist, okay. It's not just a story someone's told me. This being definitely is there in the home. So I was very fortunate, I had that experience, but many people have had an experience. I'm sure all of you will have had some magic in your life where you felt something higher than yourself, a power higher than yourself is guiding you, is helping you. So in Raj Yoga, we're deliberately making that connection. And that connection is very important for lots of reasons, but I was interested in what you said yesterday, Yogesh. You said, how do children learn? How do children learn? They observe, they absorb, they copy. So I was thinking, how do we learn who we are? How do we learn about love? How do we learn about peace? How do we learn about our true non-violent nature? How do we learn about truth? And it's this journey, what we call this pilgrimage of remembrance, of connecting with that energy that is, we start to resonate. It's a kind of energetic thing. It's like the vibrations. So down here we're vibrating at quite a low level, and the more materialistic we are, the more we identify with this physical costume, as we call it, the lower our vibration is. And again, there's a very nice analogy of, the car and the driver. So I'm driving the car, I'm not the car. And it's a bit like the home. The home is the outside manifestation, but who's dwelling inside? Who am I really? So when I'm just thinking I'm this body, when I'm thinking my identity, my value, my importance is all from what this body represents. So what sex I am, what profession I have, how much money I have, how good looking I am, all that is when we base our identity on this physical costume. And that can come and it can go. It's not reliable. It's not permanent. It's the nature of things in the material world to keep changing. And because we get attached to this identity, we suffer. I think your Buddhists would also understand dukkha. So this idea of what's causing our suffering, it's because we have wrong identity. We are believing we're a physical body and we get attached to everything out here, and then when it changes or goes or disappears or someone dies, as they will, eventually we feel loss, we feel sorrow, we feel pain. So how do we remember who we are? By connecting with that source, we start vibrating at a higher level. We're resonating. So we start resonating. So by having that experience in meditation of the presence of the divine, it's reminding us who we are. So in that connection, you feel a very loving presence. You feel that connection of love. So that energy is teaching us how to love. It's teaching us how to be peaceful. And we're absorbing that energy from this one. And then we can copy it. Which is why in some places we call that energy the Supreme Parent. But there are many, many analogies for what we can gain by connecting with this energy. We can gain wisdom, so they're a supreme teacher. We can gain love, so we feel they're a supreme parent. So it's a question of relationship. we all depend on relationships. We're all in relation with someone or something else. But developing a relationship with this energy has many, many benefits. And the special thing is that it's based on your experience, your direct experience. So it's not even like, oh, I believe that, but it's, I've experienced that. There's a different kind of quality to it. So, you know, like with a friend or something, when you need a friend, or you're in a tough time or something's happening, and there's someone who you can rely on. Maybe you've lent on someone and they've let you down, but you know when you have a really good friend and you can rely on them. So there's that sense of dependability. So this is an energy, a being you can rely on, because that soul doesn't need us. He doesn't come into the material world. It doesn't take anything from us. It's only giving, only benevolent. So the ocean of compassion, the ocean of love. And another very important quality of that soul is power. And I think this is an interesting concept as well. In physics, like we all say we'd like to change. We might have a habit, or we have a way of being, or we even want to change the world. We have negative tendencies. How do we actually change those? And in physics, if you want to change the energy within a system, it has to come from a higher level, because the energy within the system is neither created nor destroyed. But to transform that energy, you need a higher level input. And so, as souls, as spiritual beings, as sentient beings, interacting with matter, taking different births, we are losing energy. It's the law of entropy. So, in a way, at the moment, we've found ourselves quite spiritually depleted. We have lost a lot of spiritual energy. So we're in a lot of delusion. We're in a lot of illusion. I think we all know that, which is why we're here. We don't feel very satisfied with the way the world is or what's going on. It doesn't seem right. We're very, as a human race, we're very spiritually depleted. So that soul is there to connect with, to take power, to take support, to help us when we're having difficulties, and to help remind us who we are, and to take us really on that journey into that dimension. So a lot of what we're doing when we're practicing meditation is just this drill of going into that dimension of silence, connecting with that ocean of love and peace, and then coming back. So you get better and better at just making that journey. Up above, coming back, and manifesting. That's what we wish to do. So, let me just check the time. Yes, as I was saying earlier, in psychiatry there's a recognition that spirituality and religion is a great support for people, and particularly the movement called Alcoholics Anonymous or AA, and there are many different AA branches for different types of addictions, including relationship addictions, I think. But the whole concept within AA is of a higher power. And I think there is someone here who's been working with addictions as well. But I've talked to quite a few people who have used this method. And one was a university lecturer who was an alcoholic, and he said he tried absolutely everything. He was not a spiritual person, but he was desperate because he'd tried psychology and groups and detoxes and the whole thing. And so he was introduced to AA, and he said, I did not have a belief in God. I wasn't interested in that at all. But they said to me, just do it as if God existed. Just kind of do it as an experiment, which he started doing. And he said he was amazed just by having that kind of curiosity or that openness and doing it as an experiment. He found he got the power then to overcome his alcohol addiction, and it was the only thing that actually helped him stop this habit. So I think many people around the world, when they connect into that source through whatever practice they have, whatever religion they are, whatever spiritual path they follow, that when you have a feeling of connecting to that source, it's going to give you a lot of support and power and love. And I could be even a little bit personal here, because I mentioned yesterday I lost my husband about 1.5 years ago. So during that journey, and I think being with souls when they're leaving the body, it's a very profound spiritual experience. And because he knew he was a spiritual being, and I knew he was a spiritual being, we were practicing before he actually died, just leaving the body in peace, leaving the body in love, connecting to the light. And in fact, on his funeral pamphlet, we titled it Into the Light. So we knew he went into the light. And early on in that journey of his illness, I noticed that because the doctors didn't quite know what was wrong, or, and there was a feeling, he's going to die, he's going to get a cure, great, he's going to die, he's going to get a cure, no, he's going to die, And I could feel my emotions were going like, hope, oh no. And I thought, this is exhausting. I can't be doing this for the next who knows how long. And we were in hospital, and we had a very powerful meditation together, the two of us, and I really felt this supreme energy saying to me and both of us, whether he lives or whether he dies, whether he goes, whether he changes his body, it's all going to be okay. It was such a profound, deep feeling that I really didn't worry after that. I felt I could stay calm. So that real experience of support, of love, of help when you need it is what you get when you have that sense of connection with this energy. So this is what we're going to invite you to do now. I'm going to lead you on a little meditation, and we'll try and experiment with that so that you can. And I think that the important thing is when you're meditating, this is what I've learned, is the beauty of quietening your own mind and being still, is that then you can feel that presence. If you're chatting, or worrying or whatever, you're not going to feel that energy. So try and get your mind just quiet and listen. Almost, it's a sensing. You feel a presence coming to you. And gradually it's like recognizing someone's voice. It's like, you recognize the energy, and that gets more powerful. But in the beginning, if you haven't had it, you might find it takes a little while. But I really encourage you to persist, because the rewards are very worthwhile and very special. So, shall we do a little practice now? And I don't want too much reverb, and I don't want the music to be very loud, just soft, okay? Thank you. So I can sit with my eyes open or partially closed. And this has the benefit of keeping me awake, because I want to experience this, not fall asleep. And so settling into the meditation, I allow my body to be comfortable. And as I take the journey within, I can settle myself just by starting with the breath, noticing the gentle rhythm of my breath, breathing in and breathing out. And just checking in with my body, is it comfortable? Are there any areas that I need to just relax, let go? My shoulders, my tummy, my arms, my face. Just allow my body to be at ease. And then I'm bringing my awareness into the center of the forehead, where the living light that I am resides. And as I journey inwards, as the observing self, I begin to notice the thoughts in my mind. They may be thoughts of what's happened in the day, the past or the present. But as if I'm standing on a riverbank, I just take a step forward and watch the thoughts flowing past like a river. But I am stepping back. And I may also notice how I'm feeling. And what emotions are going on, what feelings are in my body, in my mind. And again, I just let them flow past. I'm not catching a train of thought. I'm going deeper and deeper into my own nature of peace. My own nature of stillness. My own nature of love. And this energy that I am is becoming more and more quiet and more subtle and light. And I am so light that I find I'm moving away from this material world into a dimension of light. All around me is golden light. And in this dimension I can sense, when I am still, the presence of a benevolent, loving, compassionate energy. There are rays of love coming to me, and I feel the connection. The presence of power, of strength. And I'm absorbing this energy of love. This energy of love is cleaning me. It's emptying me of all that I am not. It is reflecting back to me my true nature. It is giving me the power to be who I really am. A peaceful, loving, blissful being. A pure being. Empty of that which I am not, but full of that which I am. So I just let these waves of love, kindness, strength wash over me, fill me. And then gently I come back into the material plane, into this body, bringing that energy with me. To serve the world. Om Shanti. So what we'd like you to do now is be a little bit creative. So sometimes these experiences of help from above or higher power, the ocean of compassion, they're quite hard to put into words. So we're going to invite you to be creative, and we've set out creative materials on the table. So what I'd like you to do now for about 15 minutes is just to create a picture of what that higher power means to you. And some people don't necessarily feel a connection in the way I've described. It might be nature, it might be something else in the world, but it's really for you to draw what it feels like to you if you feel you connect to something bigger than yourself. And it might be like you're like a flower, and you're connecting. The sun is giving you rays of energy and light. So whatever symbolizes it, just have an experience. You're looking a bit blank. Do you think are you going to be okay with this? I think once you get starting drawing, you're going to find that it'll flow quite easily. So go find your table and just think, what does my connection with a higher power? And you can write a poem if you prefer. You can use words if you'd like to write a poem, or just draw a picture. But find yourself a table and start drawing, and then we'll get you to share. So it's really, how do I feel connecting to something bigger than myself?